Joining us now, though, Eddie Yeranian, our man in the Middle East, live from Cairo. Eddie, 2 days in a row, must be a lot happening.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Ed, you're good. Look, I want to talk about this. I don't get into conspiracy theories on the show, right? Everybody knows that. But, Ed, I've got to talk about this plane that crashed in Moscow. And, you know, of course, it's sad that all these people are dead, like 70 people. But there were several people on it that were about to be questioned on this Yeranian 1 deal that Hillary Clinton was involved in and the money that went to the Clinton Foundation. And so, you know, those have followed the Clintons, Eddie. I mean, it's always a coincidence, but anybody that might be testifying against them, they always seem to end up dead, whether it's Ron Brown or McDougal, or, I mean, you go on and on, you know, state troopers. They just always end up dead. One thing you wouldn't want to do is get involved with the Clintons where you have to testify, because by happenstance, you end up dead. Here's other people now that end up dead again. Which kind of explain this to us.
Yeah, I've been trying to confirm this report. The man listed as number 20 on the Russian listing of casualties on board the plane, all of the passengers died, as a point of fact, appears to, from what some people have been claiming, been an officer of the Russian uranium company. They're actually not just Uranium One, but the parent company, Rosatom. But there is also contradictory information saying that was another person by the same name. So a lot of claims and counterclaims being thrown out, but no confirmation until now that was actually the person involved in this uranium deal that the Clintons or Hillary was allegedly involved in. I say allegedly. I think we know she was involved in it in some way. Was it illegal or not? That's not for me to say. Mm-hmm. Did this man die? Somebody died by that name, but was it the same one? Some people are saying no, it wasn't. But the plane crash in and of itself was very suspicious, according to the Arab media, and it was a new plane. It went down for no ostensible reason. And, of course, it came down after a lot of other planes crashed. Recently, a Russian jet that was taken down in the north of Syria, an Israeli plane that came down. I don't know if those were tied together, in the south of Syria, and a Turkish helicopter. And there was another Russian passenger plane that was carrying the Russian army band, I believe it was, out of Crimea, maybe 2.5 years ago. They never said what caused that. So a lot of things happening. Impossible to prove whether those passengers were involved with Rosatom, although some people are saying that they were. And it does look very suspicious if that is the case, because but here's the thing: you've got websites on both sides of the fence, pro and con, defending the Clintons and castigating them, saying one thing and the other. So at this point, it's really impossible to say, other than the Russians have not themselves indicated that this was one of the top officers of the Rosatom Corporation involved in energy dealings.
Okay, so, I mean, let's just cut to the chase here. Eddie Yeranian, Cairo. So basically, these people that were unfortunately killed on this plane crash in Moscow, these were going to be key witnesses potentially testifying against the Clintons as the noose around their neck as it relates to the Yeranian 1 deal tightens, right? Bad for the Russian government, bad for Putin, bad for the oligarchs, bad for the Uranium 1 company, bad for Clinton. It's all bad, right? Nothing good was going to come out of this for any of those people I mentioned. And, you know, once again, people that are going to testify against the Clintons, they just end up dead. The level of coincidences here dating back to, the 1980s, it's pretty stunning. Don't you think?
Well, certainly there are a lot of other people who seem, from all the investigations I've done myself, and the information I've gotten from CBS, from the network itself,
right,
which never has gone on the record about any of that. But this particular incident, we're still trying to get to the bottom of, because the Russians, of course, and you would say to yourself that they probably wouldn't confirm if any of these people were involved with Rosatom, at least not at this point, and they probably wouldn't be crying foul if they thought there was something fishy going on. So that doesn't prove or disprove the information, but ultimately, since we can't prove that the man number 20 on the list was the one that who was an officer on Rosatom, at this point, really, we're steps away from confirming that. But one of the Clinton websites defending the Clintons, Snopes.com, was very quick to debunk the story. Of course, they've debunked things that I myself have known to be true in the past, and so I wouldn't take that one way or the other. I don't think Snopes.com is a reliable website, but then some of the other ones are not either. That are saying this is a true story. So right at this point, we're in the middle. But as far as the other people who disappeared or died mysteriously after having ties with the Clintons, like Ron Brown and others, certainly there's a lot of information out there that leads one to suspect that there was some foul play. Of course, there was a man who accidentally had a dumbbell dropped on him in the gym this past summer, who was supposed to testify in a Bill Clinton fundraising. I don't want to say scandal. It probably hasn't quite reached the scandal stage, but I personally don't drop dumbbells on my head in the gym and die of it. So there was a lot of speculation at the time. I guess it was maybe in August. I can't remember, that it was a suspicious death. So a lot of things here that are worrisome, but we can't confirm, unfortunately. This one specifically, we can't confirm, unfortunately, at this point.
But is it fair to say, Edward Yeranian, let's just state a fact. Is it fair to say that if you are going to testify against the Clinton machine, that your risk for dying goes up dramatically? Would that be a fair statement?
Regrettably, I'd have to say that's probably a fair statement.
Now, maybe it's the hand of the superpowers, protecting them against the evil right-wing conspiracy, or maybe it is just pure, unadulterated, coincidental happenstance and one of the greatest coincidences of all time. But it certainly seems if you are about to testify in any manner that would harm the Bill or Hillary Clinton machine, you just don't end up in a good place because you end up dead. Dead's not good. I don't know what else to say. I really blew this off because, there was a bunch of stuff about the state troopers and, cars went off cliffs and crazy things like that. But the Ron Brown one, that was the one that got my attention. An airplane just flies into a mountain. I mean, just like, what? Excuse me? And, of course, Ron Brown, who was a Secretary of Commerce and former chairman of the DNC, he was about to turn evidence on the Clintons like crazy because they had screwed him, and he had it all. And he ends up dead. And that's the one where I said, there's just too many coincidences here. Now you get another one. Another people dead on planes or dumbbells dropped on heads or, you had the McDougal died mysteriously in jail and he had no health problems, just dead before he gets out. They just all end up dead. Unbelievable. I got to go, man. I'm out of time, but crazy. Thanks for that update. Eddie Yeranian, live, Cairo, our man in the Middle East.